Overcoming Christmas Stress with Limited Finances, Healing Parables. The Baker and Christmas. Once upon a time, in a small town, lived a baker who was a master of his craft. However, his life was not easy. Debts weighed heavily on his shoulders like a massive stone, preventing him from enjoying life's pleasures. Christmas was approaching, but the baker felt only despair. It seemed that all the festive hustle and bustle was not for him. Everyone was enjoying the market and shopping, drinking mulled wine in cafes, but the baker had no money for such things as he had to pay off his debts. The baker felt sorrow and disappointment because he only had one day off a week and couldn't afford to buy festive decorations or sit in a cafe. During the weekdays, our baker worked at the bakery. On weekends, he sold his aromatic cakes at the town market, baking them privately. Next to his stall was a neighbor selling wonderful Christmas decorations with candles. Adorned with fir branches, pine cones, and dried flowers, the candles glowed with a warm, cozy light, attracting customers. Of course, the baker struck up a conversation with his neighbor. It turned out that the neighbor wasn't wealthy either and had debts, but he didn't despair and tried to make some extra money by skillfully creating beauty from available natural materials. The neighbor shared his secret. You don't need to spend a lot of money to create a festive atmosphere. The main thing is imagination and a bit of patience. The neighbor explained to the baker that he bought inexpensive candles and all the other decorations he gathered in the park and in his garden. Everything was natural and free. The neighbor put in his labor and creative vision and came to the market with beautiful Christmas items that sold well. The neighbor's optimism made the baker think. He realized that he could create wonders himself. Instead of despairing over the lack of money, he decided to use his talents. The baker realized that he could start decorating his cakes with Christmas themes, creating real works of art. He also thought that he could make original packaging with cardboard and ribbons. He could buy the cardboard, and he had plenty of ribbons at home, which he could use. Then, for such gift packaging, he could get more money than usual, and people could treat their friends and loved ones to his wonderful cakes, beautifully packaged and decorated with delicious Christmas themes. The baker thought he would implement all this the following weekend. But then he remembered his debts and that he couldn't even afford to drink mulled wine in a cafe with a Christmas interior, and this saddened him greatly. We work without days off and can't even drink mulled wine at the market or in a cafe, said the baker to the neighbor. The neighbor replied that he too had debts, worked from Monday to Friday, and spent weekends at the market, but he didn't despair. The neighbor said to the baker, "You don't need to sit in cafes since you can make great cakes yourself." The neighbor told the baker that he always eats at home, takes coffee in a thermos, and strolls around the market and streets, just enjoying the sights. Since he is well fed, he doesn't need to go to a cafe. Then the baker replied in despair, "Look, we work without days off and can't even sit in a cafe or buy tinsel for Christmas. I'm just in despair." But the neighbor retorted, "So what? You have delicious food at home. You can make beautiful decorations yourself like I do. Here's a candle without decoration as a gift. Take it and make your own decorations from natural materials like I do. It will be great, and you'll watch online masterclasses and have a great time, and you'll also earn money from it. You can take your cakes and coffee in a thermos on a walk and enjoy the outdoor atmosphere. So, you don't need to go to a cafe. Be grateful for what you have. Food, a roof over your head, the chance to enjoy the beauty of the holiday, and meet with loved ones. We'll pay off the debts, and everything will be great." "Thank you," said the baker and gave the neighbor some of his cakes in gratitude. "You can now walk around with coffee and cakes without needing to go to a cafe since you have my cakes. Not just coffee. And you'll be well fed and satisfied. And you have my candle," said the neighbor, "and I believe you'll make a great decoration for your home without needing to buy expensive tinsel from the store and spend money on it." So the baker befriended his neighbor, and they parted as friends when the market closed, and their goods were sold out. When the baker came home and rested, He took the candle from his neighbor at the market. He remembered how the neighbor had said, "Make something special out of it." Then the baker, following the neighbor's advice, began to create. He gathered dried flowers and beautiful leaves from his garden, cut fir branches, collected pine cones, and made a beautiful candle holder decorated with cones and fir branches. "Now I have a decoration," thought the baker joyfully, admiring his creation. Inspiration captured him, and he made a natural Christmas wreath for his door. Gradually, the baker began to notice that the world around him was transforming. He learned to find beauty in the most ordinary things. Old ribbons, cones, dry leaves. All these turned into wonderful decorations in his hands. He started making wreaths for doors, decorating his house, and even received his first orders for wreaths from his neighbors, who also wanted to create a festive atmosphere with such natural beauty. After working at the bakery, the baker made wreaths for neighbors and for the market on weekends. The baker also came up with and made Christmas decorations for his cakes. He bought cardboard and, following an online masterclass, made beautiful boxes, which he tied with the found ribbons. He placed the Christmas cakes in these boxes as gifts, beautifully and neatly packaged. The baker believed that he could earn well on the weekend and worked hard all week to expand his product range for the weekend thanks to the door wreaths. When the market opened, the baker proudly showed the wreaths to his neighbor, as well as the beautiful boxes and Christmas cakes. Then the neighbor joyfully patted the baker on the shoulder and said, "You're a smart guy, and you came up with a great idea. Bravo." The neighbor also had new products. For a week, he made Christmas bouquets without candles, with lights and without. Both of their trades went very well. Inspired by the profitable and brisk trade, the baker gave a beautiful box of Christmas cakes and a wreath to the neighbor in gratitude for his inspiration and support. The neighbor gave him a bouquet with lights. So the friends congratulated each other on the upcoming Christmas and parted happily to go home, rest, and count their earnings. When the baker came home after the market, he counted his earnings and carefully allocated everything. Part of it he set aside for gifts for family and friends, part for himself, and part he planned to use for debt repayment. The baker came up with a good idea. He called his friends and asked everyone to prepare inexpensive or creative gifts. The friends knew that the baker was going through tough financial times and, of course, agreed. The baker was very happy for their support and unanimity. Then the baker bought cardboard for boxes and candles and made beautiful packaging. In the packaging, he put naturally decorated bouquets of fir with lights and candles, which he made for friends based on the neighbor's market goods but in his own creative style. So, he didn't spend too much money on gifts. When Christmas morning came, friends exchanged inexpensive gifts and were pleasantly surprised that the baker made such beauty with his own hands. Christmas turned out very well. So the baker realized that he could be content and happy without eating expensive sweets at the market, without mulled wine, without sitting in cafes, without tinsel that is expensive in the store, and then unnecessary and cluttering up the closet. Most importantly, he understood that he was a very creative person with an entrepreneurial spirit, capable of handling any difficulties. This Christmas was special for the baker. He not only managed to cope with financial difficulties but also discovered new talents within himself. He realized that happiness is not in money but in the ability to enjoy life and create goodness. And when the baker looked back, he saw how much his world had changed. Before, he saw only problems, but now he saw opportunities. He learned to appreciate what he had and create beauty with his own hands. And he found a true friend and like-minded person, the neighbor from the market. So the Christmas miracle happened not only thanks to magic but also due to the baker's perseverance, creativity, and positivity. The end.